Welcome to it. Welcome to it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching from. Of course, our topic is right in front of the screen, but we're going to expand this topic because we need to understand the importance of our consciousness being heightened and our senses being heightened as well. We need to understand the importance of darkness, which will enable us to judge between darkness and light, because within our cosmic reality, in our cosmic dance of reality, you will understand that has been in darkness and light has been actually competing and fighting with each other, even in the cosmic dance. But many people does not notice that, because of in many religion and religious tradition, you will find out that darkness is always vilified. Darkness is seen as the devil or the demon, which disconnect us from the true reality of our source. It disconnects us from the true reality of our source. This is actually a kind of topic that when we, it's a complicated topic, and it comes with a lot of nuances and understanding what we were told and what we used to know ever since. It will be difficult for even you to understand the importance of knowing the true meaning of darkness. So, myself as a truth seeker, because as a truth seeker, I seek truth all the time, and in my spiritual understanding, I have come to realize the limitation of viewing darkness as evil. That's why I am inviting you to embark on this journey of enlightenment with me as we uncover the hidden wisdom behind the interplay of light and darkness. So, whatever we are going to actually, talk about, you will make it, you will actually understand that darkness has been vilified all this while for no reason, because darkness is actually the primordial state of creation, but it's being vilified, it's being called the devil, it's being called everything ever since the introduction of the church. Everything darkness becomes evil. That to an extent that they made you believe that anything that is dark becomes evil. So it comes immediately when the light was brought into reality, because from the beginning it was darkness. From the beginning it was dark. From the beginning it is darkness until the existence of light. Until the existence of light. And you will understand that darkness predicts all this artificial light and all. Darkness predicts the sun, darkness predicts the moon, darkness predicts every illuminating, light. Darkness predicts all. Darkness is the source through which all were born. Darkness is the primordial state of creation. Why then is darkness being vilified in most religion? Darkness is being vilified, and for no reason. Because that if we understand the importance of darkness, that's when we will realize that darkness is very important in our consciousness awakening. Darkness is very important. As we go, you are going to learn exactly what darkness bring into our lives. How darkness actually what darkness is actually contributing to our conscious mind. Without darkness, that will not be functionable or functional, because darkness we see today is peaceful. Darkness we see today is not disruptive. Darkness brings introspection. Darkness heightens our senses. So darkness brings, even fear of the unknown, because darkness has everything to do with the real source. Light has everything to do with the artificial source, the robotic source. Light has everything to do with the robotic source. And that's what the Vatican, the Council of Nicaea, introduced to us, because they know the only way we can actually take them away and disconnect them from the real source is to make sure that they abandon the truth and begin to follow everything artificial. And that's the reason why in our various cultures today, it was changed, and in the tradition, religious traditions, it is told, you are told, or you are being told on a daily basis to cast darkness away and embrace light, that light is God and light becomes divinity. But today we are going to bring to you a new perception which suggests that darkness is primordial state of creation and it is divinity, because it was there before the introduction of illuminating light. If darkness was evil, light will not come out of it. If darkness was evil, light will not come out of it. That's why every time I always advise the people who always say every power of darkness die by fire, I advise them that that is a very wrong prayer, because from the inception of this religion by the Council of Nicaea, their plan is all about indoctrinating the whole world to think and believe certain things and follow certain, in a certain way. That's why we cannot even define the essence of creation or the source of creation. Coupled with the way science also, go about their research and what they bring out to us and what they keep to themselves, because they are not giving you every information of their research. Even in your education system, they make it they made it so difficult that you cannot understand the essence of creation or the matters, how it involves our consciousness. They will not tell us about that. But today, I am going to make you understand that in theology, God is often described as a matter of faith. So he is invincible, he is unknown, a matter of faith. He is unknown, but you believe he is there because you see the signature of his work. That's why you believe he is there. And I also made, I actually, introduce a dichotomy between darkness and light, because more of it is about the dark matter and the visible matter. We talked about it because The dark matter is something that we cannot see. It is invincible. It does not emit light. It is something that you cannot see, which which actually trigger you to introspect, to know exactly or to think about deeper, to understand what is this. This is, I believe that it is in existence, but I don't see them. The same way theologians will teach you that God exists, but you have never seen it. Scientists tell you that there are dark matter, which exactly what we have up to 60 or 65% of dark matter, the ones we cannot see, which suggest the ones we can see are the ones that are visible. So in the darkness, you cannot see anything. In the darkness, your senses is heightened. In the darkness, your pineal gland is more, active than it is in the light. I am going to break it down. Let me break it down because I believe that so many people are still confused in a way that I am putting it, because in our world today, we often, we are often illuminated by artificial light. In our world, darkness tends to be viewed with apprehension and fear. Beneath its veil lies a realm of beauty. Beneath its veil lies a realm of beauty. The beauty that it is only your consciousness that imagines, but you cannot see. Mystery and profound benefit that are often overlooked because we embracing light instead of introspecting the benefit that comes from darkness, we always embrace light. And light is more disruptive. Light is more disruptive to our consciousness, while darkness actually heightens our senses, our consciousness, while light is always disruptive. Think about in a situation whereby you want to actually, think, meditate. As long as there is light within, you will be distracted. You will be more distracted. But if you are sitting in the dark, darkness brings calmliness. Darkness does not bring calmliness, because darkness brings void. Because calmliness comes with light. Darkness comes with void. And darkness brings introspection. Darkness heightens your sense and activates your pineal gland. Therefore, embracing darkness can lead to a deeper apprehension of natural world. Because, in fact, embracing darkness can lead to a deeper apprehension of the natural world and a better understanding of ourselves. A better understanding of ourselves. Because in the dark, you see nothing. You only use your brain. You only use your mind. Your brain works, more in the darkness. But in the light, your eyes works more. Your brain can give you light within darkness, but the light that is visible is actually disruptive because it is unnatural. Because one of the most striking aspects of darkness is its ability to inspire awe and wonder. When the sun sets and darkness descends, the sky transforms into a canvas of twinkling stars and celestial bodies gazing up at a starry night sky, which can invoke a sense of insignificance and connection of the vast universe beyond our own world. The beauty of the night sky has inspired artists, poets, and dreamers for centuries, serving as a reminder of the boundless mysteries that lies beyond our comprehension. That's the introspection that occurs when darkness appears. We think more, we reason more, we see with our mind. That's what actually brings about the functionality of this pineal gland that you see. The pineal gland that you see is more functional in the dark than in the light. Because beyond its aesthetic appeal, darkness has practical benefit as well. Even though we vilify darkness, we pray against darkness, every power of darkness die by fire. Darkness has practical benefit that we do not understand and we don't pay attention to understand them. Because in the absence of light, our body naturally produces melatonin. In the absence of light, our bodies naturally produce melatonin, a hormone that regulates and prompts relaxation. When there is relaxation, there can be introspection. When there is introspection, a change can occur. When a change occurs, it can occur for good or for bad. You can fix a problem because you are relaxed, you are not worried, you are thinking more positively, and your senses are heightened in the dark. That's why those of you who have ever experienced or who has experienced out-of-body experience or who have had out-of-body experience, definitely you have to be on a relaxation, on a relaxation mode before you will be able to have such experience. In a deep relaxation before you can have experience of out of body, which has everything to do with your pineal gland. And darkness is actually a trigger to that. Because darkness signals our bodies that it is time to rest, allowing us to recharge and rejuvenate through deep, restful sleep. Because in our world that is characterized by constant stimulation and artificial light, embracing darkness can provide a much needed reprieve and foster healthier sleep cycle. Now, if we can understand the importance of this darkness that we are running from, the importance of this darkness that we are running from, darkness actually gives us, creates this melatonin. Light actually takes it away. Light takes it away. Melatonin can actually work as a clock of our body, which we can say, let us see the formula of this melatonin. Let's actually see the formula of this melatonin. That is what the brain produces in darkness. The pineal gland produces in darkness. The light takes it away. The light takes it away. The melatonin, it produces, which is the formula of this melatonin, which is it produces carbon 13 atom molecular carbon, hydrogen 16 atom molecular, and nitrogen 2 atom molecular, and oxygen 2 atom molecular. This is what you get from your pineal gland whenever darkness occurs, which enables the body, or the body clock, to be more functional and more active. And when the body clock is more functional and more active, it will now remind us what time is it. It is not really about the time that we see in our clock. It is about it is actually about the time of that our body produce, because our body actually can only know its own time for rest through the production of this melatonin from the pineal gland. So in all ramification, we suggest that darkness is very, very important part of our lives. Those who understand the those astrophysics will basically understand that darkness is a primordial state of creation, and is a primordial state of creation know more about the source than the illuminating light which came after the creation. So darkness is divine. Darkness is not evil. Darkness is divine. Darkness is not evil. Because when we continue to pray against the darkness, when someone talks about the darkness, people get scared. They might say that this person is a witch. Is a witch because he talks about the darkness. He's a witch. No, without darkness, your body will not know what time is it. Without darkness, your conscious mind will never work the way it should be. Without darkness, you are going to actually be zombified. Without darkness. Darkness is the only thing that helps us to rejuvenate after going through all the stress during the time of illuminating light. It is only darkness that brings about all this relaxation, brings about it is time for you to now rest, and you will now rejuvenate, you get stronger the next day. Without darkness, that will never be possible because the artificial light will never allow you to, have rest. It will never allow you to have rest. The artificial light that we see, because every light is artificial, darkness is natural. That's why light comes and goes, darkness stays. You cannot turn it off, but the light will only bring brightness to it, but you can never turn it off. It does not have time to be turned off, because immediately in the absence of light, darkness occurs naturally. In the absence of light, you will see that darkness is there, but light is there just to brighten things. So, as much as you are going to call darkness the devil, light is more evil than the darkness. Light is more evil than the darkness, because darkness allows us to recharge, rejuvenate through deep sleep, restful sleep. Because in our world that is constant, stimulation and artificial light, embracing darkness can provide a much needed reprieve and foster healthier sleep cycle. When you actually lose your sleep, do you know what happened? That means your pineal gland is not producing melatonin. Your pineal gland is dormant, it's not working, it's not functional. Because darkness can enhance the sensory experience of the world around us. Darkness can enhance the sensory experience of the world around us, and in the absence of light, our other senses are heightened, which means your pineal gland is actually more functional in the dark. This pineal gland is what other people calls the third eye. Is what other people calls the third eye. That is the only time it will be functional. And many people call this pineal gland evil. In Christian belief, when you talk about third eye, you might find people calling it the evil, because everything that related to your consciousness awakening, they call it evil. Now, do the introspection. If the third eye or the pineal gland that produces the melatonin that gives you body clock and gives you time to rest and rejuvenate, if that is evil, why did your creator put it there in your body? What is it there for in your body? If this pineal gland is evil, what is it doing inside your brain? Because your brain is the only thing that keeps you or keeps the body alive. Your brain is where everything is connected. Your brain is what is actually the true manifestation of the soul. True or false, you ask if God is darkness or light. Both of them, you see, when we talk about God is closer to darkness than light, or darkness is closer to God than the light. That's all I can say. Darkness is closer to God than light. light is quite disruptive. Light is very, very disruptive. Therefore, it affects our conscious mind. So God is closer to darkness, or darkness is closer to God than light is. Light is secondary. Darkness is primordial. So which one could be closer to the source? Because most of the time, when you use God, you made mention the name God. God is not the source, basically. And I actually gave you the explanation based on how you know. God is not the source. God is a deity. Those kings, people who took over some certain places, God is like a king of a certain places. Those are the things you call God. God is not the source. The source is the source. I am. I am. That is the source. I am. I am. That is the source. It is not God. God is like kings and deities. That is exactly what is called God. So, in coming straight to your question, why do we have eyes? We have eyes. Eyes is part of our sense organ, but our eyes actually can see many things at once, which our brain might not be able to assess all those things immediately. But what the eyes saw during the light, the brain can actually, navigate, or will actually, understand it more in the absence of the light. Because light is disruptive, darkness is actually a void. And in this void, you will be able to do some introspection. Your senses are heightened. Your taste is heightened. Your hearing is heightened in the dark. You are more active in the dark than, like your brain active in the dark than you are with the light. Because even the light can actually, the disruptive nature of light can draw your energy. Therefore, darkness enhances the sensory experience of the world around us. In the night, you will see the dark sky and all the stars, they will appear only in the dark. That's the only time you will see all those natural, all this beautiful nature. You see them in the dark. But when the light appears, those things disappears. Those celestial body, they disappear because the light appears. When the sun goes down, the celestial body are actually visible to us. And you will see the night sky so beautiful. If you are in the rural area, those villages where your stars are actually more visible than the way it is in urban area where there is a lot of industry, a lot of pollutions. So that's exactly, light brings about pollution. Light brings about pollution. Darkness brings about, darkness brings peace. So if there is a pollution, we get more exhausted than when there is peace. Darkness brings quietness, which enables you to do introspection and every sense organs of your body is heightened. So, if darkness is vilified and light is embraced, there is chances that we can vilify, or we could be vilifying the source, because everything we are looking for is, where is the source? How did we get here? The source is invincible, and the light is actually, we can see through the light, or we can see with the light. The source is invincible. In the darkness, or in darkness, everything is invincible. So the darkness is the true image of the source. The true image of the source, not image of God. Darkness is the true image of the source, and not image of the God, because God is less than the source. God is lesser than the source. Because if darkness allows us to perceive texture, sounds, and scent with greater acuity, walking through a dark forest, example, can awaken a sense of wonder and curiosity as we rely on our senses to navigate the unknown. In this way, darkness can foster a deeper connection to the natural world and greater appreciation for the complexities of the environment which we live. Darkness also plays a crucial role in the natural rhythm of the earth. Many plants and animals are adapted to the cycle of light and darkness, using the cover of night to forage for food, seek shelter, or engage in mating rituals. Animals mostly engage in mating rituals in the night. And most of these animals that engage in mating rituals, you find out that those are unique animals. The unique animals. Most of those animals, the animals that you cannot just, it's rare to find people consuming these animals. They are unique. Those are the type of animals that are actually mating or doing their mating rituals in the dark, only through the night. Nocturnal creatures such as owls, bats, and fireflies rely on darkness for their survival, harnessing its cover to thrive in habitat. Harnessing its cover to thrive in their habitats. By embracing darkness, we can gain a greater understanding and appreciation for the delicate balance of nature and the interconnectedness of all living things. Through the darkness, you will have your sense organs are more active. You sense and you hear faster, and it is your sense organs, they sense more accurately than when the light is on. Your sense organs sense accurately than when the light is on. That's why darkness is actually the image of the source. And darkness is not simply the absence of light. It is a realm of beauty, mystery, and profound benefit that enrich our lives in ways we may not always recognize because we continue to vilify her. And by us embracing darkness, we can cultivate a deeper appreciation for the natural world, foster restful sleep, and awaken our senses to the wonders that surround us. We should stop fearing darkness. We should embrace darkness because it is an essential and enriching part of the human experience. It is essential and enriching part of human experience. Therefore, darkness is God. In the absence of darkness, you will not have enough melatonin. In the absence of darkness, your pineal gland will not produce melatonin, which is called also a sleep hormone that helps to regulate the body. It is called an internal clock, which promotes time for sleep and time to wake up. Because a lack of melatonin production can lead to difficulty in falling asleep or staying asleep. Lack of melatonin can bring about what you might call the sleep insomnia or insomnia. It is caused by insufficient melatonin that is produced in the darkness by your pineal gland. In the absence of darkness, the pineal gland cannot produce melatonin and you will suffer insomnia. Because what we are trying to actually bring here is for you to understand the importance of this darkness that we continue to call to die by fire. In the absence of darkness, you are going to have what is called disruptive circadian rhythm. As melatonin helps regulate the bodies. And what is circadian rhythm? The internal clock that controls the sleep-wake cycle. Without enough melatonin, the circadian rhythm will be disruptive, leading to sleep disturbances and overall feeling of fatigue or unrest. In the absence of darkness, your body is at risk of health issues because it will not have adequate melatonin level that are important for your overall health. So I am just giving you the benefit of darkness because the most important, one of the most important part of our lives is to embrace whom we are. And how do we know whom we are? It is only when our pineal gland is fully activated, then we will be able to do more introspection, especially in our journey to transcend this indoctrination that we've been through all our lives. If we understand the importance of darkness, we will no longer vilify darkness, just like the way the light vilifies it. Darkness is not evil. Darkness is actually closer to God than light is. Light came with the church. Light came with the Council of Nicaea. Light came with the devil. Darkness is not the malevolent, is not the devil. Darkness is that which is unseen. And that which is unseen, but we believe it exists. And that is by faith. Darkness is what you don't see anything in the dark. And when we talk about the things that are invincible, the things that does not emit light, the things that does not leave, a trace behind, they are those dark matters. So in the dark, everything is invincible, which connects us or make us understand that darkness becomes the primordial state of creation. Because darkness was there and has always been there before the existence of every other universe or every other light, including the sun and the moon. Darkness predates all. Regardless, the existence of these two began to chance the existence of darkness and began to vilify darkness. And this is the reality, our cosmic reality. And it has affected us even in our realm, because if you understand that in our cosmic realm, darkness and light, they are always fighting with each other. Darkness and light is always fighting with each other in our cosmic realm. And everything that actually happens in the cosmic realm will always happen in our reality or in our realm of reality. The fight between the darkness and the light is affecting us in our reality. That's why you should understand that in the absence of light, there is no pollution. There is no air pollution. There is nothing like pollution in the absence of light. Because darkness brings about everything natural. Darkness is more natural. Light emits pollution. Light is more harmful than we know it. It does not mean that it doesn't have its own benefit. The benefit is a whole lot, but it is as well harmful. Darkness is harmless. Darkness is friendly. Darkness is the image of the source. Darkness is exactly where everything emanated from. Darkness is the source. So we should do a serious introspection as we continue, or as you continue to vilify darkness, because I am no longer there. I am no longer there. Darkness helps your third eyes to be open. And your third eyes being open or being activated, it's not a sin. It's not a witchcraft. It is part of your brain, because your brain is supposed to be vibrating in a certain way. Your brain is connected to the source. But indoctrination disconnects your brain from the source. And when the brain is disconnected from the source, the vibration is very low. You cannot even heal. You take time to heal. We were not created to be going in and out of hospital or anything. We are created that our brain will produce everything that will take care of our body when it is sick. But because we started with fear of the unknown, or fear of those who wrote the table of this indoctrination that we went through, or we're still going through, because a lot of people still believe that those indoctrination they are receiving from the teachings of this church and theologians is actually going to lead them to heaven. It's only leading you to hell, because their teaching is upside down. That's why those who introduce religion introduce school of religion, school where their religious leaders must attend so that they will know how to lie. They will know how to, they might not know they are lying. They will not be aware that they are lying to us. Using the book that is unconnected to religion, they will not be aware of their lies that we are being told, because darkness being evil emanated from the church. Darkness being evil emanated from the church, and church emanated from the Vatican. Vatican come as a result of Council of Nicaea, which are the malevolent who gathered together and created a forum for indoctrinating the world and lying to the world and setting us to live in an upside down world that brings our brain to be dormant. Our brain cannot vibrate to its normal state of vibration. It cannot actually reach its normal state of vibration, which can help you cure any part of your body that is sick. The brain can send a signal or a frequency that heals the body. What we call immortality is as a result of the functionalities of the brain, or the functions of the brain. That's what creates immortality. If our brain is fully connected to the source, we don't really need to go to hospital to heal. We just need to feed the brain the nutrition that helps the brain to vibrate better. We just need to eat good food. Good food. It is the brain that produce that actually, the immune system comes from the brain. The immune system that prevents you from, attracting every illnesses or every disease that pass by, it comes from the brain. Our brain is actually, in fact, the brain can do a whole lot of work than we can imagine. That's why the pineal gland is called the third eyes. You can use it to see in the dark. Your pineal gland, that's why anybody that becomes, blind, if they become blind, you find out that every senses in their body is heightened. Their sense organ is heightened because they can no longer see the bright light. So their senses is more heightened. They feel more, they hear faster than you that is making use of your eyes. They smell, every sense of their sense organ actually, work more accurately than you that is able to see, because they are no longer being distracted by the bright light. They are no longer being distracted by the bright light. That's why their sense organs is heightened. Because what you see can distract your brain. What you see can distract your brain because we see different things or many things at once. And once you are seeing it, is sending signals to the brain that is already struggling with the indoctrination that is done to it, and which suppress the vibration of the brain to be able to process and access information or download information fast and access it correctly. Indoctrination made our brain to vibrate very low, that it is not even 30% functional. Our brain, if our brain come up to even 50% functional, we are going to become closer to those who call themselves God. Because, of course, we must understand the difference between God and the source. This is exactly what the church introduced so that we follow God and live behind the source. That's exactly the work of the church. But because you've gone through this, your brain has gone through this indoctrination of the church or the school education system, then when we talk about God, you are going to be, you're going to be upset because you also want to fight for God. How do you want to fight for God if God is omnipotent? If he is untouchable, unreachable, how do you then want to fight for him? But God is less. God is actually less. What we're supposed to pay attention to is the source, because our brain is connected to the source. Everything that you are going to know is through the functions of the brain. Everything that keeps you alive, that keeps every part of your body alive, comes from the functions of the brain. And the brain functions properly in the absence of illuminating light. In the absence of bright light, brain functions properly, functions better in the absence of light. It vibrates better because you are more focused. You are more focused. In the absence of light, you can easily do introspection. Therefore, light is disruptive Light cannot be divinity. Light cannot signify divinity, but darkness can signify divinity. It is the matter of faith. In the dark, you use your brain to articulate. In the light, you use your eyes to send message to the brain. And you can send different message, different signals to the brain. That's why darkness is natural, light is artificial and disruptive. It has its own benefit. Light has its own benefit. I know that there are, a lot of those who are born through this indoctrination, or those who benefit from the indoctrination that we have been through, is going to tell you that light is divinity. Now, darkness is evil. But that's not true. If we understand how important it was for the malevolent to turn our world upside down, including our brain functions, it is turned upside down. The most important parts of our brains are deactivated through indoctrination. Indoctrinations can actually affect your DNA. Indoctrination can affect your DNA, if not modify your DNA. Indoctrination. For you to see the danger of indoctrination, it can affect our DNA. Think about the indoctrination of heaven and hellfire. From when you are growing up, you were told if you tell lie, you go to hellfire. And some certain occasion, you might not actually be, or you will be scared, you tell lie because you don't want to get hiding. You don't want to be beaten up. You tell lie. And when you tell lie, you go inside, your closet, you are going to be stressed. So if I actually, die right now, I'm going to hellfire because I told lie. So those things will continue to shut down your brain functionalities. It is going to actually, bring down a lot of, it is going to affect your brain functions. Because the lies, you told lies, and somebody lies to you on top of the lie you told to tell you that if you tell lie, you go to hellfire. But sometimes you told this lie for peace to reign. Right? You don't want problem, you told a lie. A necessary lie. Because it doesn't matter which one you told or when, but every lie you told seemed to be necessary for you to be safe or for you to save another person. And if you told lie, you go to hellfire, which affect your brain because it is a mixed emotion. It brings about confusion. I told lie to save myself. Now, if I never told lie, I'm going to be beaten up and I am going to get hurt. Now, if I don't tell lie, I get beaten up and I will go to hell. I get beaten up, then I won't go to hellfire. But if I told lie, I will not get beaten up, but I will go to hellfire. So there is no much option given to you. It affects the brain vibration because it gives you more stress, and more you are stressed, more the functions of your brain is being, it's actually becoming weaker. Stress can modify your DNA. Stress can modify your DNA, and stress is mostly born of indoctrination, because if we understand the indoctrination that we are being put through, indoctrination of all the time, everything we think about is how to actually acquire fiat money. Indoctrination makes our beautiful world to be a materialistic world. That if you don't have material things, you are not part of this world. You need to actually sideline yourself, or you need to behave certain way if you don't have this material stuff. It is born of indoctrination. Because at the end of the day, all these things and material things you are going to actually capture, think about it. You're still going to leave them behind and you are still going to die. And when you return, it is not going to be in your hands anymore. It is not going, you are not going to be in charge of it in your afterlife anymore. So, why then do we give ourselves stress that we have to make money, and a lot of it, not just to go in there and bring in things that sustains our lives? Why do we need to be powerful by making fiat money? Instead of being powerful by, maintaining the order of the nature. Instead of being powerful by bringing food, organic food that we are going to eat, or having more, being powerful in what you can, the amount of food that you can produce from your farm. Everyone used to have a land. And in some certain culture, just like African culture, you will understand that land is a necessity. You must own a land. And the land is passed from generation to generation. If you don't own a land, you are not a man. So that land is what all the wealth that we talks about. Before the rise of the malevolent, who created fiat money, because if you understand African system, it was the best system in the world, the system of trade by barter. We don't need to have fiat money to be rich. We don't need to have material things to be seen as being rich, because it's not about being rich, it's about being powerful and intimidating the others. That is the essence of this materialistic world that the malevolent created for us and used indoctrination to lure us into, behaving in such a way that is going to modify our DNA and shut down our pineal gland to vibrate accordingly to the highest frequency which it is created, or it is placed in the middle of our brain for. The functions of this pineal gland is no longer manifesting because indoctrination shut it down. And same indoctrination, there are people who will hear what we are talking about right now. They will tell you, no, you don't think about this. That's third eyes. They are talking about the third eye. The third eye is witchcraft. The third eye is this. Why did the source put it there? If it is a witchcraft, why is it in your brain? So if the third eyes or the pineal gland is a witchcraft, what about your frontal lobe? Isn't it part of your brain, the brain that you use to reason? That should also be a witchcraft. For you to reason, for you to think, should be a witchcraft. So these are the things the church made us to believe, that some certain things that we can make use of within our brain is witchcraft. That is not witchcraft. That is indoctrination that stops you from knowing and being aware. And you see, even the book the church use say, my people perish for lack of knowledge. For lack of knowledge, my people perish. So if you don't have knowledge of every functions of your body, you might not be able to activate or make use of it to help your own self. Therefore, you are going to be dependent on pharmaceutical. In everything that happens to you, if you have a pain in your arm, you are going to depend on pharmaceutical, because if we understand that Council of Nicaea is more dangerous than Berlin Conference, Council of Nicaea is more dangerous than Berlin Conference, 1885. 325 AD was, the worst thing that happened to humanity than 1885 of Berlin Conference. Because if there was no Council of Nicaea, Berlin Conference will never be achieved, or the agendas of the Berlin Conference will never be achieved. Because indoctrination must come in and fear must be instilled for malevolence to rise. If there is no fear of anything, malevolence will not rise. The God will not rise to come himself or to name himself as a God. But he has to instill fear. Fear through indoctrination. And that fear, that's why the church unalived millions of people just for them to become part of the church. Just for them to be affiliated to the church. They unalive millions of them to force them into church, because they know once you are coming into church, you are going to be indoctrinated and you are going to be controlled through lies and deceit that is going to be fed to your brain every given time, that you may stop thinking for yourself, that somebody who is a theologian will begin to think for you or begin to think on your behalf for the benefit of those people who created the church. Why did you started taking tax to Rome? It was as a result of the rise of Vatican, and after the Council of Nicaea, you took tax to Rome. When the British noticed that this tax we can as well collect, they created their own, the Anglican, after the Catholicism. And they actually mixed all these things up with the culture of certain people. They mixed everything up. Truth told with lies. That's what they did. Truth told with lies. Plus, it is by force. You must follow. You must follow. They created Christianity. They created Islam. Why? The most dominating religion in this world is the two of them. They dominated the world, especially Christianity. They dominated the world. It is indoctrination. Before the advent of Christianity or before the advent of Islam, the world was a better place. People followed the law of nature. And as long as you follow the law of nature, nobody is going to unalive another person. No criminals is actually moving around the street, because it is nature is going to hunt you. It is nature. It is not our making. As we begin to break and breach the law of nature, our brain began to disconnect from the source, and the vibration is now very low that it cannot function for the benefit of us anymore. That's it. If we begin to think about it, They told us darkness is evil. They told us everything related to darkness is evil. They need to demonize you in order to belittle you. If they cannot demonize you, if they cannot profile you, you will not be belittled. So first of all, Berlin Conference was successful because there is already demonization of through the faith, so-called religion. There is already demonization. They have understood, especially those who call themselves, okay, those cosmologians who understood the saga between the darkness and the light. The cosmic saga between the darkness and the light. They took advantage of this cosmic saga. And they actually introduce it to our very reality. And that's why the world is no longer a better place. Our world is now a purgatory, a hellfire. Because the malevolent took over. And the malevolent made us disconnect from the source. And the malevolent becomes the God. And the source becomes the devil. And that is the reason why there is suffering everywhere. And even though malevolent, when the malevolent was taking over, telling you that he is God, and telling you that you should write it in capital letter, it is all about the malevolent disconnecting you from the source and telling you that he is the everything. But there is one thing that malevolent told you, which is the truth, that the source, or God, as you may know it, is a jealous God. Because malevolent knows that the source is a jealous God, and he does not work with excuses. The laws are there, and the codes bends for no one. Ignorance cannot be the reason why you break the code. That's why the malevolent, who knows exactly the way of the source, came down and proclaimed themselves to be the God. They will not call themselves the source. That's the only thing they cannot do. But they call themselves God. They crown themselves God. They even fight among each other. Just who is going to rule here? Who is going to rule here? The same thing that happened in our, in our cosmic reality, or in our cosmic space, happened in our physical reality. Think about the history of the Europeans. Think about the history of European before the Council of Nicaea. Think about it. The same way it is playing out there is the same way it played out here in our physical reality. But, what I am actually talking about right now, it is something that is very, very deep, that many might not understand it, or you might decontextualize it. But bear in mind that the cosmic saga between light and darkness affected our physical reality, and that is what we are going through today. Because light was created, and light saw darkness and began to try to intimidate darkness because of its, brightness and, illumination of light He began to threaten the darkness and telling darkness, no, you are not needed. Darkness, I am the light. I am the light. When I come around, you are no longer consequential. Therefore, he wanted to overthrow the darkness. And then, because light believed that, of course, light has time for taking over anything he wants or it want, because light actually knows a lot about darkness, because it was from darkness light came from, but light began to wanted to overshadow darkness, the mother of creation. Light began to overshadow the mother of creation from which it arrived. It began to overshadow, it began to challenge it, it began to gang against it. And that's what we see when the light was now cast out. The light now began to attack those who were like of the darkness, the primordial God. The light began to attack the primordial God. They gathered because the reason why we were shown the Council of Nicaea, when we were growing up, everything about that is more of education. You should know the 12 apostles of Christ, and those apostles are those who gathered during the Council of Nicaea. Those were the ones we call Paul, Peter, Barnabas, this and that. Those are those who gathered for the Council of Nicaea, finding a way to enslave humanity. Those were the ones we began to call the disciple of Jesus and Jesus. Of course, they will never use the real name of, the main character. They will never use the real name, but they will now use a name. And now, when they use that name, they place that name to be divinity and place the main character to be the devil. That's why you and I are committing evil. That's why you and I are so scared. That's why you and I are not vibrating the way we should. That's why we are now so divided. Because indoctrination of our brain or mind keep us divided. Because when we come together, the reason why social media is here today, believe me, because it is time of awakening, the time of rapture, the time of renewal, the time to give account. That's why you will see in the book of Enoch, it talks about the time there will be, the earth is going to be moved from its place. Remember, it talks about the earth moving from its place. And when it talks about earth moving from its place, you go to this map because there are things that we don't understand. And the day we are going to understand that our truth is right in front of us, it is about us to decipher that truth. Now, this is exactly what the book of Enoch talked about before we proceed. I want you to see it quickly. This is exactly what the book of Enoch talks about. And it is not a mere coincidence that we have access to social media today and begin to come together to reason and to talk to each other, to share knowledge, even though many people are coming in the name they want to make money. It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, you are here because there is something important that you need to learn here. Listen to this. Because the malevolent introducing social media, it was introducing social media to use it to destroy us. But the time of movement of earth, because it says that earth shall be moved from its place. Earth shall be moved out of its place. Look at it. What we have here, apocalypse, solar shift, pole shift. So you will notice the movement from both pole, north and the south pole. There will be a movement. It is going to move out of its place. And that also suggests that earth is stationary. Our earth is stationary. So there will be a pole shift. That's what the book of Enoch talks about. And remember, let's actually define this map that is right in front of us. See here. Look at here. The signs and wonder. The signs and wonder comes from the techno-Luciferianism. Look at it. Techno-Luciferianism, that's where we begin to have social media. For you to see that that promise is right in front of us right now. Now you find Facebook, you find Zuckerberg. Remember, it is called techno-Luciferianism. But you find Facebook, the first one, Zuckerberg, then you find Google Alphabet, which is Eric Schmidt. Now, you go down from techno-Luciferianism, you find Antichrist. The real reason for creating this is to promote Antichrist. What is Antichrist? Everything that is against the order of the nature, that is Antichrist. Everything that is against the order of nature, that is Antichrist, because Christ works with natural order. And now there will be a pole shift. Apocalypse, Revelation is now what is actually unraveling. Now we are now going to de-indoctrinate ourselves, decolonize. It doesn't matter your race or whatever, you are indoctrinated. It doesn't matter whether people who are your color, who looks like you, are the indoctrinator, you are indoctrinated. So it is time to de-indoctrinate while we are decolonizing, because the colonization we talk about come from the malevolent, come from God, not the source. God is quite different from the source. The source is the creator of all. I am that I am. Therefore, his creation is called I am. Just one I am. He is I am that I am. So, in seeing all these things, you will understand that it is time. Techno-Luciferianism is the creation of it brings about social media. It brings about social media. It brings about Church of AI. It brings about solar eclipse, collapsing timeline, brings about resignation, CEO resignations. It brings about, just like you find out what's happening in Ukraine and the reaction, not in Ukraine, and in Palestine, and those who actually resign from their positions because of that. Now you find out about the Antichrist, which is promotion of everything that is against the order of nature. Christ that they have changed to Jesus, or who, the main character that they call Jesus. Remember that there is someone who existed, who came, who challenged the status quo, because Christ is a consciousness, or the one they call Jesus, the one they depict, or the one they impersonate as Jesus, is a consciousness. And that consciousness you talk about, it's not like someone is going to fall from the sky and come and fight for us. It is a consciousness that we need to tap into. And for us to tap into this consciousness, this is going to happen. The Luciferianism, the Facebook, that will give us access to talk to one another. That's why most of the time, if you go to Facebook, we will not be able to talk about this type of thing. Of course, my Facebook today is shadow banned because we bring out the raw truth. The raw truth, it is not what it's created for. If we are talking about, anything that does not help us or our consciousness or our brain to vibrate in a way it should vibrate, they will promote it. But because when you begin to talk things that will help your consciousness to be awakened, or that will bring about this great awakening, promote great awakening, and take us to the age of Aquarius, once you begin to promote such things, you are going to have problems with those kind of social media, because now you find out the Church of AI, and at some point you will also find the AI being the leader in the church, which is, you have seen it, the indoctrination thrive more. Every power of darkness can work in Facebook, because through that you can reach broader audience and indoctrinate them, because they have given birth, and this thing they have given birth to is now going to reproduce. It is now going to reproduce. And the more it is reproducing or procreating, the more the whole world is going to vibrate low. And that is exactly what the malevolent wants, as you are vibrating low, because there is a fear that is instilled in you. You will not be able to rise up and ask questions. If you are vibrating low, you will not be able to ask questions. What is exactly there in Antarctica that it's only selected individuals that are allowed to go in there? But this world is the world of everybody. But there are places which is prohibited from other people to access. You find out that's why you must be indoctrinated, so that they will place you to see whatever they want you to see. They will make you to believe in what they want you to believe. They will make you to think about what they want you to think about. They now introduce mainstream, the what they call mainstream, which sells everything that their indoctrination, to promote their indoctrination. If it is not coming from the mainstream, don't believe it. That's the slogan. If it doesn't come from the mainstream, don't believe it. Because the world is waiting for someone to rise up and say to them that we have discovered in our cosmology that darkness is God. Because even the mainstream made us to believe that darkness is devil. But darkness is the true source from which everything emanated from. Light is anti the source, because light was created to help the creation that came from darkness to thrive, to have it easy, because creation that came from darkness functioned as a dark matter and a physical matter. Because our soul is a dark matter. Our body is actually, part of those, is it 5% or 15% of the physical matter, or the matter that emits light, that are visible. Visible matter is our body. Our soul is dark matter. And that thing that you cannot see is actually the real thing. But the one that you can see is actually the fake one. And the fake always take over the market, because the fake is going to be more shiny, cheaper, and accessible than the real one. Because that's exactly the psychology of what happened to us. We hear about the story of God and Lucifer, right? We hear about that story of God and Lucifer. That is the story of darkness and light. It is the true story of darkness and light in the cosmic reality. Darkness was, the source. Light came by because it was given, power to, when it comes on, it takes away the image of the source, so that the creation of the source will be able to, navigate their day-to-day activities. Then the light began to say, nah, I am more important. I am more important. Your creation cannot thrive without me. Your creation cannot move without me. Your creations are going to be bored. Think about it. Adam was created, then Eve was created from Adam. Therefore, Adam, it was the primary source of human creation, right? Eve was the secondary, right? Now, the same way, darkness was not created. Light came from darkness, and light began to overshadow darkness, because the secondary source will always want to overshadow the primary source. And if you think about in our education system, when we talk about primary colors, they only tell us is red, yellow, and blue, right? Am I correct? I don't know if I'm correct. They say red, yellow, and blue is primary color. That's what they tell us. But the real primary color is black. The real primary color is black, because every color that exists is put together to bring about black. And every color can be separated from black. Just a little bit experiment. Colors can be separated from black. You can use a water marker. The easiest way to do it, use a water marker, black water marker. Use a filter paper. Scribble on the marker. That filter paper, put something that will enable water to actually drain into the paper, and put it on top of a glass of water. Then you separate black every color from this water black marker, because black consists of every color, every hue, because black is the source of every color. Darkness is the source of every creation. That's why they tell you there is a dark hole, there is a dark hole, there is this appearing in our ozone layer, or this, and darkness is the source of every creation. Darkness is not just God. Darkness is bigger than God. Darkness is the source. That's why people people tremble in the wake of darkness. But light believed that no, it is needed, and it was able to convince many people that I am the I am. I am the God. He can never say I am the I am, because we will switch it off. If he say he is the he is, we will switch it off. But he said he is God. He said he is God. That's why you hear about, oh, Lucifer, the son of the morning star. It is something that is coded that we may not understand. Just like if we want to, talk about figuring things out mathematically, there is a way you can figure things out without being, without any mathematics. Call them for the name which they are. Why do you need to code them? Because you want to hide them from many people that you may have monopoly over it. That's why there is this mathematical, you need to figure out, you need to solve them to get this. That you need to solve them to get this. Just like if we want to talk about melatonin, and if we want to talk about exactly the formula, the chemical formula for melatonin, where we know we can easily call it melatonin, we come here. Let me give you an example of it. Let me show you the example of what I'm talking about. This is melatonin, right? This is the formula. This is the formula for melatonin, but we can easily call it melatonin. If we call it melatonin, we know this is what it is. And we can easily call this C. We call it carbon, right? Carbon with 13 molecular. Then you call H hydrogen. We can easily call it hydrogen with 16 atom molecular. Then you find nitrogen. Why does it need to be, just because there are many people, when they look at this formula, you see this formula, only this formula put them off. Because when they look at it, they think, this is so difficult, we cannot solve it. It puts them off from knowing when they can solve it, or if it is written in a full sentence without written in a code or formula like this, they might solve it, they might know more about it. So they write it this way. Carbon inside melatonin, and what produces this melatonin is your pineal gland. Your pineal gland produces this, and when does it produce it? When it is darkness. When it is darkness, this helps your body clock, your internal clock, to function properly. Melatonin, carbon, 13 atom molecule. And you find hydrogen with 16 atom molecule. And you find nitrogen and oxygen. That's what your brain, your pineal gland, produce more when it is darkness. So if the pineal gland produces this when it is darkness, this is actually, it makes your body, because your body has its own clock, but the clock is more functional when the darkness appears, because your body and your brain is now is going to connect back to the source. When there is darkness, it connects back to the source, which brings about the introspection which heightens your sense organs, heightens your sense organ, your pineal gland is going to actually can be activated to function fully in the dark, rather more than in the light, because light is disruptive. Oh, you should understand, oh Lucifer, the son of the morning star. And what you see here, the circle you see within the blue path that connect to the socket of the eyes, the nose, is actually what you see as a pineal gland, something like a round that you see on the side deep inside your brain is what you call the pineal gland, is what you call the third eyes, is what you use to see in the dark, is what you use to see when you become blind. It is it is what brings about introspection. So every indoctrination works to keep this deactivated. To keep this deactivated. If this function more in the dark, remember it does not have any, it is not an eyes like per se, the way they call it third eyes. Because the eyes, we know it has its own lens and it is visible to our reality. You can use it to see, but this is deep inside your brain. You can, how do you use it to see? To show you that it is, that's why darkness, it works more in darkness to show you that it is connected to the dark matter, unseen. Because this enables you to have the introspection about the unseen and understand the unseen more than when the illuminating light appears, because the eyes will always, bring information that distract the pineal gland from introspection. So it is important for you to understand that the fight you see between the one they call God and, the fight you heard about God and the devil, the God and the devil, it is fight between the darkness and light. And you decided to side with light because you see in the light and you are scared of darkness. You side with the light and you vilify darkness, which is the same place where you come from and where the light come from. You sided the light and you vilify darkness because you sided with the devil, the Council of Nicaea, the rise of the Vatican, and the creation of religion. You decided to start siding with them because they tell you truth mixed with lies. They told you truth mixed with lies to keep your brain vibration as low as possible. As long as your brain vibration is as low as possible, they will introduce anything that they want to introduce through the mainstream promotion, and your brain doesn't have a choice than to buy it. That's it. That's exactly what they were able to do, casting the light out of heaven. And the light came to do its own stuff. And you cannot take power from the devil, because that power given to the devil, well, let me put it this way. You cannot switch off that light, because if you switch off the light, you have already introduced this light. If you did not introduce this light, that means people will find a way to navigate, but you have already introduced this light to people. So putting it off is going to work against your creation. So when you begin to ask the source, why did you not take power from the devil? It is not a power to be taken. It introduction. That's why he will tell you that he creates good, he creates evil. Because good and evil works together for the benefit of his creation. The light became evil, but his creation still going to work with light. Do you see the conundrum? It is something that is quite difficult to understand because you are already introduced to the son of the morning star as your angel. You have already, son of the morning star is already been introduced to you as someone you must respect, as someone you must cherish. And all of a sudden somebody come and say, no, this sun and the morning stars is no longer, I'm turning it off. You will feel like this person is cruel. This person is cruel. So that's why he cannot turn it off, because you've already make a relationship between these two, then they two work together for the benefit of humanity and benefit of his creation. Even though light is more disruptive, because without light, without emission of light and all that, someone is going to come to lie to you to tell you that there is a global warming. Global warming comes as a result of light. It does not come as a result of darkness. Darkness is a natural, it is natural. You can never turn it off. Light can get tired and go to sleep. Darkness stays. Even while light is on, darkness is on. But darkness, the light can stay as much as you want. It will get tired and go in. But darkness does not. It stays put, waiting for darkness to finish its own work, light to finish its own work. The same way the source was actually staying put, waiting for the devil to finish his work by all this indoctrination. And he now, because his limitation, he knows that the limitation of the devil, it is going to come to the time it wants more material things. From seeking of material things, they will give you a platform where you are going to use to pass a message, because the only thing the light was able to do in our physical reality was being able to divide us. That's why the parable or the story of Tower of Babel, because it means that in the Tower of Babel, human was actually, we were engaging in things. We were moving forward. We were building. We were together. The vibration was God, the vibration was actually godly, that we want to stay closer to the source. We wanted to stay closer to the source. Remember, that was the story of the Tower of Babel. Just one moment, 1 minute, 1 minute. Let me. All right, you guys, if you are here, kindly tap the screen. So, if we remember the story of Tower of Babel, in the Tower of Babel, it is said that the human being was exploring their their talent, human being was actually, so productive that they are so connected to the source that they want to build a tower that will connect them or that will place them closer to the source. And the devil does not want it. And what was that tower human being was actually building closer to the source, where every human being are going to dwell together, where there will be no division, where there will be togetherness, where there will be equality, where there will be love. And that is the only thing that connects us straight to the source. And the malevolent, the devil, the light, decided to arrive to see that if we allow this human, they will actually, sideline us too. Since we have been sidelined from the other side, if this human sideline us, we will have nothing to be at our command anymore. Therefore, let's find a way to deal with these people systemically in a way that they will not actually understand that we are dealing with them. They decided to do manipulation. Everything they did to us there was not done it was not the most effective part of what they did. As a story of Tower of Babel was not about physical torture or physical doings. It was psychological. It was psychological plus harshness and psychological, that make us to be looking for everything, even those things that we are actually in need of. Those things are things that we can create ourselves. That's why they started lying to us. They started dividing everybody. They started dividing everybody. Everybody is together, but people knows where their home is. Of course. Because I know right now when we talk about bringing, when we are talking about this togetherness, people are getting frightened. People are getting frightened. Does it mean we are all going to live together? No. It doesn't mean we are going to live together. When we talk about togetherness, it's talking about love. It's talking about, you don't need to think about anything evil about me. That is when we connect to the source. We know that we understand the interconnectedness of every creation. That's exactly what we're talking about. So don't panic. We're not trying to tell you in fact, we're not telling you to force yourself together with every other person if you feel you are more special. So what we are talking about is that in the Tower of Babel, they were building with one language, right? One language. They have understanding. They work together. Immediately the malevolent arrived, he started splitting them, changing their languages. It took time to adjust. When you read it, you would think it is all about something they did within a minute or within some hours. No, it took time. That's when it talks about they were sent to the deep sleep. And some people say our DNA was modified. The DNA that was modified is brain vibration. Because what brings about living long, if we are going to live long, it all have everything to do with our brain vibration. We could live for 1,000 years. Human could live for 1,000 years. But once they weaken the vibration of the brain that does not produce enough, functions that will help human body to heal, or human body to, not to age faster. Because brain is the reason why we're aging faster, and the what we are exposed to, what we eat, makes us to age faster. And the atmosphere we are exposed to. Because light came in, introduced everything that is against the order of nature. And now, we started feeling the heat of it. Some people who look like human beings, when they are not human, who the malevolent is using to make sure that every system put in place by the malevolent is being protected and is being carried out or is functional, that we may continue and our lifespan may continue to deteriorate until we start living only 20 years. Because if things continue in the pace that it is continuing, we are going to find ourselves living the age of 50 years in the next century, or in the next 100 years. We're going to be living at the age of 50, because everything that is going to bring that is being put in place. It is not going to work as an indoctrination anymore, because we are waking up from indoctrination. It's now going to go to what we consume, what we eat. The technologies that we make use of. Those are where it is going right now. The technology we make use of. Because remember, in this our modern age, it is alien technologies that we are using. That's why it is not compatible with our lives, our planet, our system. It can never be. But because the malevolent want us to be in the need of everything, that it must be the one to introduce us to it. Because if we are not into material things, malevolent will not have access to us. But because we want material things, that's now our world become a materialistic world, that we are going to be looking for anything, everything at every time. Then it is to the advantage of the malevolent, the devil, the light. It is on their advantage. There is no more balance. Because if we stop looking for, if fiat money was not introduced, everyone can go to their farm, produce the food they eat. If you don't produce carrot, then you produce cucumber. You now trade with the person who produces carrot. Everyone is farming. Everyone is farming. Think about it. There will be no one who is going to now say, no, it is now time for GMO. No one needs to farm anymore. We have found a way to give you GMO. The plan is that, because now, when we talk about the Great Awakening is going to now de-indoctrinate. It's about de-indoctrination. That's Great Awakening. And now, they have to now feed it to you through food that will make you vibrate so low. And you've been eating it. Not only vibrate so low, it has impact on your DNA, because it is going to modify it. It is going to now bring your lifespan, because anything that that modifies your DNA, it already have impact in your lifespan. And remember that their achievement is to make sure that you do not have access to information. Because if you have access to information, if you live up to 200 years, you will still see old people who will tell you the story that happened in the past. Because without the past, you can never move on. You can never have access to brighter future. Past corrects the future. The history corrects the future. So that's the reason why they must make sure that there is no people who live older. Even though the 120 that they left for us from the 19th century, because we started living 120 in from 19th century, because in the 18th centuries people still live up to 200 years. In the 18th century, people still live up to 200 years. But in 19th century, they did everything, including bringing HIV, so that people will no longer live up to 200. They brought it down to the age of 120. Now the 120 is being taken away. It is being taken away that people might not even understand that the 120 is being taken away on a daily basis. It is being cut to 80. It was cut to 80. Now in the next century, it is going to be cut to 55, 60. If we continue this way, they will continue to cut it. You will not have anybody to tell you what happened in the past, because that's exactly what we are grappling with right now. There are no elderly people who will tell you now the accurate history of the past, because that's how they achieve their goals. Remove the history. Indoctrination continues. Lies and deceit continues. As long as there is no history, remove the history. Mainstream whatever we make available to them within the mainstream, they're definitely going to buy it. As long as there is no history, rooted history that will now enable them to remember. That's why the cutting away with your artifacts from Africa, it is part of making sure the indoctrination works, because when you look at the artifacts, you remember that is the reason why people believe that those artifacts is what they pray to. You don't pray to them, you actually look at them and remember. That's why they were made. It is for historical keeping and purposes. It is not to pray to it. You can't. That's why they told you that these artifacts, you are praying to it. You are praying to a lesser God. And understanding what you read in their book, they call Book of Religion, which they told you that you do not worship anything that is made by wood or artifact. They made you believe you are worshiping it. That's why so many of African leaders, they are docile. They have not even woke up to say, no, we want these artifacts back. We can even go to court. We want to claim these things back. Because those things, if we look at them in our museum, where they belong, not where in the natural, in the foreign land. In the foreign land, you will not remember. Take it back to where they belong. People look at it and remember. Because that's what connects us to our previous memory in our previous life, which we call the life of our ancestors, because we were the ancestors. We were the ancestors. We do not stay dead. It doesn't take us more than 4 years, 5 years to come back immediately after the body dies. We go through a cycle of rebirth. We go back. But now, the worst scenario, the problem is that when you go back, you go into that same family that is proudly Christian, that is proudly Muslim, that is proudly Judaism, that is proudly this, that is proudly that. To indoctrinate you, you start afresh. And you will pay for every crime you committed in your past life. That's how heaven and hellfire works. So it is important for us to understand that indoctrination is the only thing that separates us from the vibration that we can produce with our brain and all the elements that we can produce with our brain. Let us make a man in our own image. Our brain is the source that connects us to I am that I am. Our brain is the source that connects us to I am that I am, the primary source. Because every body that has a soul, every human being that has a soul is connected to the source through their brain. That's why your brain is the one that do all the work, sensing, healing, articulation, critical thinking, understand does it exist, make a research, push every part of your body to be functional. It is the brain and brain alone. Once you detach the brain, nothing will be functional anymore, because the electricity that you use to stand upright, the electricity that you use to actually function comes from the brain. Brain is actually electricity generator of the body. That is your brain. Brain is power station of the body. Power station of the body. You see, where those power stations that, you see, there are power stations that use fossil fuel. They use fossil fuel. And now your brain is the power station of the body that powers the body, the computer of the body. The only thing that brain need, it does not need fossil fuel. It does not need any other thing. It needs good food. Once you are able to consume good food, being exposed in a better atmosphere, friendly, and in better ecosystem, the brain will vibrate and you will never get sick. You will never get sick. But those things are not being made available anymore. They are not being made available anymore. Those things that will help the brain to vibrate. The atmosphere is actually no longer, compatible with the functions of the brain. The atmosphere, it's no longer compatible to our ecosystem because of light, the son of the morning star. Regardless, whatever you read, anything you see that tells you darkness is evil, that thing is either it is indoctrinated or it is the indoctrinator that tells you darkness is evil. Darkness is not evil. Darkness is the primordial state of creation through which everything emanated. Without darkness, there is no creation. So darkness is the primary source of creation, and darkness is the source. And the things that comes from darkness are called God. Darkness cannot equate God. You cannot equate, God to darkness. Rather, you equate source to darkness. Source where every God came from. The source where every God came from. Because we can be God. All we need is for us to vibrate. If we vibrate properly, we can be God, but not the source. Remember, there is difference between the source, and God. There is difference between your power generator, remember, when you go to your power station, whether it is nuclear power station or whether it is coal power station, it doesn't matter. Remember, the power station produces the primary electricity, then goes through the transformer, go through your, that actually, bring electricity to your meter, from your meter to your house, which now the electricity that is going to come into your house is regulated according to the voltage. They know you measure the voltage that will supply the house. That is exactly, the way it is. The voltage of the electricity that goes into the house, it is measured properly. Otherwise, if you bring higher voltage into the house, it is going to affect your appliances. Therefore, when we are talking about the source, the primary source, it is, I give an example as that power station, which is the primary source of where your electricity comes from. Transformer can be the secondary source, right? Now, from transformer, it goes into your meter, from your meter to your house. Remember, the more it is moving, the more it is becoming lesser in voltage. So, the source is the power station. The source is the power station, which is what you cannot equate it with God. What comes from the source is called God. What comes from the source is called God. So, if God is the highest power, the source is, but God is not the highest power. That's why there are gods with S. It doesn't matter whether you write it capital or small. God is God with S. And if our brain vibrates properly, we become God. We cannot be controlled by malevolent. We are connected to the source. So we are God that controls every creature that is actually in our planet. And when we talk about the altruistic person, which they impersonate as Jesus with Caesar Borgia, the son of a pope, if we talk about that, it is a consciousness. Consciousness, you are not waiting for him to come. It is a consciousness that you need to activate, consciousness of altruistic behavior. That is it. You need to be, if you become a good man today that care for every other person and love every other person, you are becoming Christ immediately. That is the consciousness of it. You need to tap in. You wake up and ready to challenge the status quo that indoctrinate other people. That is the consciousness of the one they are impersonating in the name of Jesus. And if everybody possesses this consciousness, Christ consciousness, that means we are connected back to the source. Christ consciousness deals with love, deals with oneness, understand the interconnectedness of everything that is within our universe. Christ consciousness understands the law of nature. Christ consciousness is what we need. And that is when it says, when they talk about him returning, that's why they decided to bring Bible, change the name, turn the first be the last, or turn it upside down. And because Bible is one of the books that has the truth, but the truth was disjointed. That's why you cannot find the answers in the Bible without your pineal gland being functional or your frontal lobe being functional, because they disjointed everything. They say Christ is coming back, right? That's what they said. It says in the book, Christ is coming back. That is the time of awakening, when you are going to remember that the only thing that connects you to the source is to love your people, is to be altruistic man or have altruistic behavior, which enables you to pay sacrifice, share with the poor people, anybody that need help within your community, you help them. You make sure that anything that will help in any way to help your society, you participate, making sure you love you love people around you. You love the creation that come from the same source where you come from. You maintain your ecosystem. You maintain the order of the nature. That is Christ consciousness, which means any external influence that will come out, all of you will unite. There will be no sabotage. There will be no saboteur. Because the only thing that deprive us of Christ consciousness is there are people who are willing, but there are saboteur who is going to actually make you to pull back, because they will sell you out. They will be the ones to sell you out. The people now speak different language, but Christ consciousness grants you one language. That's why he say, I will gather my supplicants in the book of Zephaniah 3, book of Zephaniah 3, verse 36, if I'm not mistaken. He will gather his suppliant beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. Remember, I will shake heaven and earth will move from its place. But there is a particular place which can never move. And earth has been shaken before. Let me show you the result of shaking, earth being, shook before. Let me show you the result of it. Because the truth and the secret we are looking for is right around us, but we cannot decipher. We cannot decipher because of indoctrination. Now let me show you the real meaning of earth moving from its place, because it happened before. Earth moved from its place before, and it is going to happen again. That is exactly what is called the pole shift and apocalypse. Let me show you. If you have ever seen this map, this type of map, then you will understand. If you have ever seen this type of map before, it's not bright. Let me try again to see if it is going to be bright. Let's clean the lens. So, if you have ever seen this type of map before, I don't know why it is not coming bright. So let's try it again. Let's do this. See if we're going to make it brighter. It doesn't want to get bright. So this map is a map that shows that everything that Africa was a supercontinent. That's what this map shows. Africa was a supercontinent. Every continent is actually, attached with Africa. Then I believe it was after the flood, the great deluge, or the deluge, it was when the earth was shook and everything separated from the earth. Every other continent were born. I will shake heaven and earth will be moved from its place. But there is a place called the center that will never move, because the center is the balance of, it brings about the balance. It will rebuild again from the center. And that center is Africa. That's why it says in Zephaniah, for beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, beyond the river of Ethiopia, because what they told us is, what they made us believe is that, in the book, they disjointed it to an extent. They mixed the truth, the reality, and with, actually, I wouldn't say lies, but they disjointed it. Look at this. This map was the Pangaea map. So just that every planet, everything was together. Everything was together with Africa. So before, let me try to do this to see if this is going to be bright, because I don't know. Yes. This is the map. Watch here. Remember that this map was placed like this, just to, of course, you see what it is this. You see the map of Africa here. This is the map of Africa. Placed like this so that north will be up, then south becomes down. Now look at where China is. Look at where China is, and all of them were still connected. You see the Middle East. The Middle East is still attached. You see Madagascar. Madagascar was still in place where it is. You see where Antarctica is. It's here. India is close to it. There is from India, you connect to Antarctica. From Madagascar, you get into Antarctica. From Mozambique, you get into Antarctica. From South Africa, you go past a little ocean to get to Antarctica. You can find out from Brazil is still connected. Argentina is still connected to Antarctica, North America, but all of them were cleaved onto Africa. Now, after the deluge, we began to see different map. After the deluge, we began to see different map. That's when we began to see maps like this. That is when we began to see maps like this. You see now they are all separated. They were separated from each other after the flood. After the great flood, earth was moved from its place, but the center remains. The center remains, which is everything that was happening here. They were shook and moved away. The center remains. Look at this. Of course, this map is supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be like this because this is the position of our map. The north, they always put up this side. North can be in the middle, but not up. South, which is now, this south is in the north, and the north is in the south, within the poles, the two poles, the two earth poles. Look at it. They placed it like this, and placed north in the up, not up, and the place south down. Where are the poles? So everything was turned upside down to work against us, to make sure we do not remember. So that's exactly what the devil did, or the malevolent did to us, to make sure that our pineal gland is deactivated, that we cannot vibrate we cannot help ourselves. And the church helped them to do so. And that's what we are suffering today. And for us to actually come back to our normal self is to learn to love and stop, being wicked, stop being selfish, stop being looking for all about looking for material things. Whatever it takes, we must get money. No. That's why the ones you call leaders, they becomes all thieves, because they are being controlled by the malevolent. Malevolent want you to be in need of everything, because now you want money, you want to buy car, you want to buy food, you want to buy everything, including those things you can manufacture by yourself. They make you forget that you could do it. And they make it so difficult to access. That's exactly what is keeping us down. The day we remember that we don't need to wait for anybody to go back to our farmland, to have solidarity. We don't need anybody mainstream to tell us that the only thing that will connect us back to that Tower of Babel, where we were building together, and the language they called one language was the language of togetherness, language that enables us to build together without, saying that you are this, you are that. That's the only thing that is going to help us. Otherwise, you will continue to call light God and call darkness the devil, when darkness is the primordial state of creation through which light came or emanated, and through that every creation, including our galaxy, our universe, multiverse, every other thing emanated from nothing, which is darkness. That's what they call nothing, because they can't see it. They can't see anything. Darkness. Darkness is the primary source of creation. Darkness is the creator. But this is where we're going to leave it. And we are going to probably be back again live next weekend, from Friday to Sunday. We will be live. We come live from Friday night, Sunday night, Saturday night, and probably Sunday night. It depends on your time zone. Maybe it is nighttime from your side. So by this time is when we come online, basically. So it is probably night in Africa. That's what it is. African nighttime, because I believe that we have more connections and more followings from Africa. So it is the nighttime. We come back at night in order to present. So we're going to see you guys on Friday night, Saturday night, and the Sunday night. Then we will continue again. Thank you guys for joining us, and I believe you must have picked up one or two. My teaching might not be, my presentation might not be perfect, but of course, all you need to do is connect to understand. And some of you might not understand my accent and the way I actually pronounce things, but all you need to do is connect. You will understand. Until we meet again, thank you for joining. Bye for now. Or do we have any question? If anyone has a question, you can actually ask me a question in the next 2 or 3 minutes. Then I can answer your question before we go. Do we have any question? I believe true or false, I answered your question. I answered your question initially. So I don't think there is any question, or do we have? No, we don't. So we're going to call it. If you have any question, you can actually send me a DM. I'll answer you.